Welcome to the channel for the future caretakers of resurrected species. Welcome to the Paleo-Zoo-Keepers Association.
Oh, hello there. Welcome to the Paleo-Zoo-Keeper Association. My name is Austin. Last year in October, I did a what-if video on what if Smilodon were introduced in Santa Catalina, based off of a paper I did back in college. If you guys are interested, definitely take a gander. It was a fun video. And as I was making the video, and then afterwards, I've had some ideas of what if other what if scenarios are of similar caliber. Not in the same light as my rewilding videos that I've done and I'm going to in the future, where I talk about like how we raise the animals, how we get them ready for the wild, and so on. But what if we just simply, like Jurassic World Dominion style, just have a specific species place in a specific habitat that at first glance would definitely seem that it could do well for them, and see how it goes, both for the ecology and to the animals. And this video is going to be like that as well. In this case, it'll be the Daeodon, one of the largest species of Entelodonts, or hell pigs, in the world, be placed in a World Heritage Site in Africa, the Ngorongoro Crater. So, let's see how good these so-called hell pigs do well, or Terminator pigs, do well in Africa.
The Daeodon, or the dreadful teeth, is a species of Entelodont that is said to have lived in North America between 23 to 20 million years ago. Entelodonts are a family of hoofed mammals that superficially resemble pigs or peccaries, hence their nicknames of hell pigs or Terminator hogs. Despite them resembling pigs, scientists believe that they are actually more closely related to hippos and whales instead. The Daeodon, also known as Dinohinus, was one of the largest species of Entelodonts that have ever lived. Its warty head was measured to a length of 3 feet long, stands at a shoulder height between less than 6 feet to even almost 7 feet tall, along with weighing up to 1,550 pounds and having a body length of 12 feet long. This makes them similar in size to that of the American bison to modern rhinoceros. On its diet, it is safe to say that the Daeodon, like most or all Entelodonts, were mostly carnivorous. The evidence for this is that its teeth are designed for carnivory, its eyes face forward so it could give it more binocular vision like most carnivorous animals. And many fossils of potential prey animals showed bite marks that match perfectly with Daeodon's teeth. Some of these bite marks showed healing, which both showed that the prey survived and were actively preyed upon by the Terminator hog. There was also signs that was not above scavenging, and were even signs that it would cache its kills in different locations to save for later, much like foxes. While they did hunted, scavenged, and consumed meat and bones, the family of Entelodonts as a whole are more correctly categorized as opportunistic omnivores, similar to modern-day bears or wild boars. When not consuming meat, they would consume fruit, nuts, tubers, and even branches to supplement their diet. The Daeodon was said to have lived from 23 to 20 million years ago in North America, which would be from the latest Oligocene to early Miocene. At this time, grasslands and savanna-like habitats were very commonplace, and its cursorial body plan and other adaptations help it live well in this open habitat. Sharing this habitat with the Daeodon, and were most likely hunted by the hog, are small gazelle-like species of camels, small hornless rhinos, three-toed horses, carnivorous bear dogs, and other strange creatures of the late Oligocene and early Miocene of North America.
That's some of the basic information about Daeodon. More information that hasn't been mentioned will be mentioned along the way. But the next part is the location itself. One of the most famous sites in wildlife sites in the whole world. The Ngorongoro Crater. Located in northeastern Tanzania, the Ngorongoro Crater is a World Heritage Site that is renowned for its wildlife. The Ngorongoro Crater is in fact the crater of a now extinct volcano that is between 10 to 12 miles wide in diameter and has an area of 102 square miles within it. The habitat within this crater is primarily shortgrass prairies or savannas with minimal woodland areas within it as well, along with a large lake within the valley. Thanks to underground springs that provide fresh water to this valley all year round, even during the dry seasons, it has the highest concentration or density population-wise of large mammals in Africa. Nearly 30,000 large mammals would reside in this valley, from large herds of zebra and wildebeest. Thanks to such a dense population of prey animals in the crater, it also has the highest concentration of lion and hyena populations in a small area in the whole of Africa. Now that we've got the basics of the Daeodon and the Ngorongoro Crater in order, let's see what it would be like if Daeodon were in the Ngorongoro Crater. Now, one of the first things we need to know about compatibility with Daeodon and the Ngorongoro Crater is climate and temperature-wise. During the late Oligocene and early Miocene, which they say that Daeodon was around, it was actually much warmer than it was. It was actually a tad warmer than it is today. It was definitely cool. Well, it definitely was cooler and more arid compared to like the early Oligocene and such, but it was definitely a tad warmer than it is today. So the Ngorongoro Crater might be able to provide the warm environment that it would need. Another is basically a habitat. Daeodon was living in the world where, as the environment from the late Oligocene to the Miocene was said to be getting cooler, getting more arid, means like forests were starting opening up to grasslands and such. It's possible that with its cursorial physique, Daeodon was able to traverse through open grasslands, open savannas and such, in a similar manner like a hyena and other large carnivores would be able to across the savanna. So it's definitely safe to say that Daeodon in the Ngorongoro Crater, with its grasslands and there's in the forest that's in there, whether it's close to the lake or up in the highlands, they could definitely find a good home there, or at least the environment is definitely compatible for it. Another factor to see if Daeodon would be able to be compatible with Ngorongoro Crater is food availability. Like other entelodonts, Daeodon are opportunistic omnivores and have a pretty broad range in their diet. One would be that they would go after roots and tubers deep in the ground, not using their nose to dig up like a pig, but using their hooves most likely. And there are plenty of plants within the crater, as well as trees, where their roots and tubers can be nutritious for the Daeodon. Along with roots and tubers, fruit will also be a favorite meal for Daeodon. And there are some species of fruit that are found growing in the Ngorongoro Crater, figs being one of them. So there's definitely probably not as much as like in a tropical rainforest, but there definitely are some fruiting plants that can provide food for Daeodon. Along with the plant material, animal protein is also another key component of an omnivore's diet, especially for Daeodon. One of the first animal proteins you'll probably find is that since ostriches do come to the crater every now and then, their eggs will be a very welcomed meal for Daeodon. And with their powerful jaws strong enough to crack bones, they could definitely crack the ostrich eggshells with ease and enjoy the meal. No different than how pigs would go after birds' eggs. While eggs would definitely be a well-welcomed source of animal protein, the most important animal protein to a Daeodon's diet is meat. And with the Ngorongoro Crater, it has a good amount of meat to choose from. As mentioned earlier, thanks to underground springs, fresh water is always available in the crater, even during the dry summer months. Because of this, even though the crater's walls and barriers can easily be traversed, the large herds of hoofed animals will not leave the crater, especially during the dry summer months. So because of this, there is plenty of prey to go around, especially for Daeodon. While it seems to have the vicious oral tools in its mouth to be able to do so, and a large size, scientists doubted that Daeodon will go after really large prey. It is most likely that Daeodon would hunt animals that are smaller and more lightly built than itself. Looking at some of the animals that would have been the main course for Daeodon back in its heyday, camels that were basically as small and as graceful as gazelles, small horses that were as large as ponies, rhinos that were pretty small, from being like size of a pig to being the size of a small cow, and several other animals. I would probably say that an animal that's basically like 1,000 pounds or less would probably be the best candidate for the prey for Daeodon. Although, even though, probably more likely they'll hunt something less than 1,000 pounds, probably closer to like 600 or so. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at what's available in Ngorongoro. One of the most common hoofed animals that are found in the crater, the blue wildebeest, they will definitely be a good source of food for Daeodon. Since they are pretty small compared to Daeodon, and they're much more lightweight than Daeodon, on average of weighing up to 550 pounds, the adults and their calves would definitely be a great meal for Daeodon, as long as they're able to catch them. They will have to be able to watch their horns, of course, but as long as they could be able to get past the horns, wildebeest will be a good meal. Another hoofed animal whose herds are found in large quantity in the crater are the playing zebra. With them being bigger and heavier than the wildebeest, weighing between 800 and 900 pounds, the zebra would definitely give Daeodon more of a fight, especially since zebras are well known for biting, pawing, and kicking large predators, even lions, to death. Zebras are also known for having great stamina to be able to keep running for extended periods of time. The cursorial physiology of the Daeodon might be able to help this with this regard, but it will definitely give it a long run. But since during the Daeodon's heyday, it has faced and hunted species of horses that are adapted for open prairies, it could probably be able to use similar tactics that it would use on horses on the modern day zebra. So while it definitely won't be an easy animal for Daeodon to take down, zebra, at least a younger zebra, especially their foals, would definitely make a good meal for Daeodon. Other denizens of the crater would definitely be familiar to Daeodon. The black rhinoceros, who are thriving well in the crater, would definitely be in the valley as well. Although, since the black rhinoceros is definitely larger, about the same weight, if not heavier, than Daeodon, most likely the adults would not be touched. But their calves could definitely be a possibility. And also, even though Daeodon would definitely be the largest carnivore in the valley, it will still not have complete run of the place, because not every hunt with every animal is always going to go in the Daeodon's favor. African bush elephants often visit the crater valley from the highlands. They will often go down to the crater for water and acacias and other greens that are available. And their small calves can be a potential meal for Daeodon, and the adults would, especially with their very strong parental bonds, the adults would definitely give Daeodon a good whooping, and the chances of Daeodon being able to have an elephant calf as a meal is pretty slim. Cape buffalo are also other large herbivores that will come to the crater. Now, while it's possible Daeodon could probably get the calves, this will not be easy, and this will probably be one of the animals that Daeodon would want to avoid. With them being around the same size and weight as Daeodon, Cape buffalo are also known to be extremely aggressive and extremely tough, and with them being known to mob of predators with their large herds, they would definitely give Daeodon a run for their money. And while, like mentioned before, they might be able to get their calves, it'll probably be one of the animals that Daeodon would rather avoid, unless circumstances and opportunities could arise. Another large herbivore that are found in the crater is, in fact, one of the Daeodon's closest living relative, the hippopotamus. While Daeodon does have a height advantage for the most part, and has a fearsome set of teeth, the hippo, though shorter, is significantly heavier than the Daeodon, has an arguably stronger set of jaws, thicker hide, and also arguably much more fearsome personality and behavior, would definitely give Daeodon a run for its money. And while Daeodon would definitely probably hunt young calves, old hippos, or sick and severely injured hippos, it's most likely conflicts between the two species would be over mud and wallow holes. So it would definitely be a pretty bloody family reunion if these two ever meet up together. With these and other variety of prey animals concentrating in the crater in high numbers, like mentioned earlier, it's definitely no surprise that there are a high concentration of large predators in the valley, especially with the highest concentration of lion and hyena populations in all of Africa in a small space. And undoubtedly, the Daeodon will have to deal with these animals too. So, how would it go out? Along with competing for prey, it's no doubt that both predators, the native lions and hyenas and the newly introduced Daeodon, would not only compete for prey, but would try to steal each other's kills. This is known as kleptoparasitism. So, it definitely won't be surprising. Just like how lions and hyenas do with each other today, Daeodon will do something similar with these modern predators. No doubt, when the Daeodon first arrived in the crater, they would definitely terrify the predators at first, since they are not used to having a 1,650-pound carnivore coming at them to compete for prey, and for their kills. So at first, they will definitely be fearful of this animal. But as time goes on, and as the lions and hyenas get used to this new competitor, once they notice some things about the Daeodon, they'll start to become more comfortable and even start becoming more bold with the animal. One would be that unlike the Ngorongoro predators and the prey that they hunt, scientists mostly believe that Daeodon were solitary animals. They do not live or hunt in groups. They usually just live alone. There is also another characteristic of the Daeodon that would get it in trouble with the lions and hyenas. Despite the large head, the brain of the Daeodon is actually pretty small in relation to body size, and according to the brain cast, it's relatively more smooth. So while this animal is definitely a big bruiser, a terrifying animal, it's not very clever, and it's more instinctual than clever. When dealing with lions, I can definitely say that with a single a small group of lions, a Daeodon would probably, especially a really good-sized boar, would definitely scare off the lions from their kills for the most part. But if the pride is big enough, and probably more importantly, if there is a good amount of large male lions at the kill site, it would definitely be able to fend off the Daeodon. Since male lions are more daring to go after larger prey, like from Cape buffalo to giraffes, they would definitely be more willing to go after Daeodon. With the spotted hyena, I could definitely imagine the spotted hyena would, in time, become a real menace to the Daeodon. I say that because while a single hyena is definitely smaller than that of an African lion, and a Daeodon could be able to overpower one hyena, hyenas are known to live in pretty large clans, and if they are in a large enough clan, they would definitely be able to overwhelm a single Daeodon. And with their jaws being just as strong, if not stronger, than the bone-crunching jaws of Daeodon, it will definitely give Daeodon enough injuries that would definitely be life-threatening. But the spotted hyena has another trick up its sleeve that the Daeodon doesn't have: a much higher intelligence. In comparison with other animals, especially other modern-day animals, the hyena's intelligence is more akin to that of primates, specifically those of the baboon family. And they're known to even beat chimpanzees when it comes to cooperative behavior. So, with their swarming clans, powerful jaws, and then a much higher IQ into the ranks, they would definitely be the bane of Daeodon's existence. But since Daeodon has dealt with competing predators that are similar to these animals, such as the powerful bear dogs, cat-like nimbrivids, and bone-crunching dogs, they would probably be able to adapt with these animals. And since the Ngorongoro provides enough food for all the predators there, both as living animals and potential carcasses, and since they're omnivorous as well, Daeodon could be able to find a way to be able to coexist in this crater. It won't be in large numbers, but they probably could be able to adapt with these animals. However, the same conditions that affected the lions and hyena populations in the crater would definitely affect Daeodon, as in, with so much food available, the population density of Daeodon in the crater would definitely be much higher than they would be if they were in the savannas outside the crater. And while this definitely would seem like a good thing, it actually can be very destructive. For example, in the case of the lions and hyenas, even though the large amount of prey has allowed them to have a high population density in the crater, this high population has actually made things stressful for both species. That it's become pretty cramped in the crater. Lions, hyenas are competing amongst themselves, both other members of their own kind and the other species, for space and prey, and it makes them pretty stressed out, and even to the point of shortening their lives. With Daeodon, it'll be no different. In fact, it'll actually be worse. Although Daeodon are said to live solitary lives, they are, in fact, extremely territorial with each other. We figured this because many of their skulls have been found with large bite wounds all over their faces, especially above their sinuses, which are indicative of a territorial fight. Kind of like how you see in hippos and such. So if they're already like that in a contemporary habitat, in the crater, where the population density would be pretty dang high, even for these solitary animals, fights for competition of resources and space would be even higher. And if it's not the lions and hyenas that would keep their populations in check, the other Daeodons will keep themselves in check. Albeit with some difficulties, it would seem that the Daeodon could be able to adapt to life in the Ngorongoro Crater. However, there is one element in this habitat that they had never faced back then in the past. Humans have been part of the Ngorongoro Crater for thousands of years. The Maasai, the tribe that are native here at the crater, have been coming in and out and even been living in the crater for thousands of years. They would definitely go in the crater during the dry season, take advantage of the freshwater springs. They've been living side by side with the wildlife for so long that, thanks to ceremonial hunting that the Maasai do with lions, the lions would flee from the cattle herds as soon as they hear the cowbells of the Maasai's herds. This has actually been able to help both predators and humans be able to coexist in relativistic harmony for thousands of years. Unfortunately, the Daeodon would not have had this thousands of years association time with the Maasai. And when the Daeodon first see the Maasai and their cattle, they would definitely associate and see them as a new source of food, and will go after the cattle and perhaps even the Maasai. And I could definitely imagine that the Maasai, seeing these Daeodon, will probably call them names that would mean like demonic or monstrous warthogs. So yeah, with the Daeodon and the Maasai, it will not be a pretty picture. Along with the Maasai, tourists are also coming in and out of the crater as well, primarily to see obviously the natural wonders of the crater, and to be able to see so many different animals in just one day, whereas outside of the crater it would have taken hours or days to be able to see some, if barely any. And the tourist interactions with the Daeodon, well, for one thing, the tourists would definitely be interested in watching the Daeodon in a naturalistic habitat. Seeing such a large animal like that in a naturalistic setting, they would definitely be interested in that. But when it comes to when they get to their camps and lodges, they will definitely have to be careful, since Daeodon are omnivores like bears. They would probably smell the trash food of the campers and tourists, and they will want to go at them. And the park rangers would definitely want to make certain that the tourists are not careless with their trash, or, heaven forbid, that they would ever feed these animals. Because the last thing you want is basically an animal that weighs like practically 3/4 of a ton to associate people with food, either giving food or being food themselves. As one would expect, it would definitely be a fascinating scenario if Daeodon became part of the menagerie of the wildlife wonder that is the Ngorongoro Crater. If you made it this far, thank you ever so kindly for watching this video. Ever since my Smilodon on Santa Catalina Island video, noticed that a lot of people love that video and the concept, and especially since that video became one of my most popular videos. And since then, I've been brainstorming on so many similar scenarios, with Daeodon being the Ngorongoro Crater being one of them. With this, I will definitely say that along with my usual animal husbandry, hypothetical husbandry videos and rewilding videos, that's what this channel is mostly about, I will also make a little series of what I call the Paleo-Vaders, which basically is a paleological invasions of basically creatures in our fossil record invading the modern world. Kind of like how Jurassic World Dominion is supposed to be. I want to say thank you to artists Keenan Taylor and Taliesin Coleman. Their art was Their artwork was able to help bring this video to life, as well as others. I want to say thank you to my subscribers. Your subscription helps. And if you haven't done it yet, please like and subscribe. And thanks to my patrons on Patreon. Every little bit helps, guys. And I want to thank viewers like you. Muchas gracias. I hope you all will have a grand and wonderful day. Adios.